Hey guys, and welcome back to Regrexit. Brexit England, Northern Ireland and Eastern Europe. And in Brexit England, the ex-Chancellor has said he diverts money from the poor and gives it to the rich. Tell me something, yeah? How do you people in the red wall feel right now? How do you feel about that? Because I'm telling you, right, you people are some racist idiots, right? You're a bunch of dickheads, right? When you know you voted against Jeremy Corbyn to vote, right, for people, right, who hate you. The Chancellor, the ex-Chancellor I should say, he's only been ex-Chancellor for a few weeks, right? He's been in the job for long enough to have done enough damage. He says, right, when he was in the Royal Tunbridge Wells, he was in, and he's turned around to those people and said to them, I take from the less well off to give to people like you. Do you not feel really stupid, like a big fucking losing idiot like you actually are? Because you people are, you see you people, yeah, who voted, who said, oh yeah, we used to vote for Labour, but you know what, yeah, we've decided we're going to vote for Boris Johnson. How do you feel right now? Do you feel stupid? When you look in the mirror, do you look at and see a clown looking back at you? Is that what you see when you look in the mirror? Because you've got to. You've got to. There's no possible way, right, that when you look in the mirror, you can see anything sensible. Remember when I was saying, oh, well, Workington man and all this type of bullshit, and Workington man drives a fucking Mondeo. Let me tell you something, right? There ain't no conservatives, real conservatives. No, I'm talking about real conservatives now. Because real conservatives, right, there's not that many of them, right? Because you're talking about, like, you know, the really wealthy. That's who you're talking about. Like, you're talking about land-owning gentry motherfuckers. That's who you're talking about, right? And you know, there ain't no land-owning motherfucking gentry owners, right, who live on fucking council estates who vote for the fucking Tories. Okay, so there's none of you. So none of yous, right? When you're talking about fucking Workington man driving a fucking Mondeo, right? But next thing they're saying, oh well, you know what? Fuck Workington man, right? We're going to take all the money that should be going to Workington man district, right, and pass it over to people in the fucking Royal Tunbridge motherfucking Wells. Pass it over to boroughs like that. You know, this is like, you know, this is reminiscent of like your, you know, your Oliver Twist times. This Victorian bullshit. That's what this is, right? Where, you know, these people will be, you know, they'll have a big plate of fucking food. You know, they'll have chicken on there, they have beef and some lamb, right? And you know, and there's some nice potatoes, right? You know, nice vegetables, right? But for you, it's fucking gruel. That's what they expect you to have, gruel. Working class people, right, and poor people voting for the Tories, right? I always say, right, that I can't understand why they do it. I know why you do it. But I just like to say I can't understand why they do it. You do it because you're a bunch of racist fucking idiots. Yeah. If it's, you know, you go back to, you know, you know, this country, right, has gone against Michael Foot, put in Thatcher, who sold off all the fucking industries, sold off all the fucking utilities, sold them all off. Forget closing the fucking mines, yeah? You forget the closing the mines, right? Because, you see, with the whole closing the mine thing, yeah, that wasn't Thatcher that closed the mines. That was Parliament that closed the mines. Because Thatcher couldn't just say, oh, I'm closing these mines. There would have had to have been a vote. Okay? So, instead of the miners watching what's going on in Parliament, right, these guys are fighting to save an industry that this country has said we're no longer going to produce coal. That's it. We're not producing coal no longer. Right? So why the fuck would you be standing outside those coal mines, right, fighting for your job? Your job's not going to be there any longer. They're not producing coal any longer. Your place wasn't supposed to be at the coal mine. No. This place was supposed to be either getting your fucking ass down to Westminster, right, or getting into your local town centre and saying, listen, we're demonstrating because you need to bring jobs into this area. You're closing those jobs over there, so fuck that. Bollocks to that. That's gone. Okay, that's gone. It's done. So now what you need to do is you need to bring other industries into this district. That's what the miners should have been fighting. But no, the miners are a bunch of fucking idiots, right? Working class fucking fools who have no fucking sense, right? They probably think with their fucking bollocks rather than thinking with their fucking brains, if they've got a fucking brain. Because if they had a brain, they wouldn't be working in a fucking mine in the first fucking place. Right? So, right, instead of, right, you know, fighting the government, right, you know, telling the government, oh, you know, you're going to still produce fucking coal. When they've already voted, they're not going to do it no longer. And if they vote on something, right, then there's not much chance of changing that. Brexit. Okay? There's not much chance of changing these things once the government have actually voted themselves on it. So the miners and all these people was fighting all the wrong fucking fight. So we've gone from, right, voting against Michael Foot, right, who was a man for the fucking people, right? And then we have to go forward because obviously we've had oh yeah, we could say, well, say again, Neil Kinnock voted against Neil Kinnock. John Smith, I don't think John Smith stood in the election. I think he died before, right? And then obviously you got the Conservative Tony Blair takeover. So that's what I'm saying. In my lifetime, we haven't had a Labour Party because we had because Tony Blair is a Conservative, right? So we had, right, and then it's gone against Ed Miliband. Yeah, Ed Miliband, right? And then it's gone against Jeremy Corbyn, right? And it's put in Thatcher, Major, Cameron, Theresa May, yeah, and Boris Johnson. These are the people, right, those Labour politicians this country has gone against. And it's put in all of those Tories. And these fucking arseholes wonder why the fucking country is in the fucking shithole it's in. Why do you think it's in the shithole it's in? It's in the shithole it's in because of the people who you vote for. Because you vote for people like fucking Rishi fucking Sunak, right? A man who will tell you straight, fuck you, working class and fucking poor and less well off. Fuck you, you bunch of fucking low class arses. You're fucking third class fucking citizens. That's what you are. You're fucking scum. That's what these people think of you. When they can turn round and just say, oh, I take from the less well off and I give it, right, to people who have got more than enough. They're the people who deserve it. The people who have got more than enough. The people, right, who can afford to send their children to fucking Eton. That's who we take the money and give it to. Right? The people of this country, right, are fucking stupid, right? If you're not, and you know I'm talking to all of you people who vote for the Tories. I'm not talking to the real Tories, because the real Tories, I don't blame you for voting for the fucking Tories. You're voting in your own interest. What the fuck? Why the fuck wouldn't you vote for the fucking Tories, right? You know, I'm talking about the working classes, right, and the fucking poor, because the middle classes don't really vote for the Tories. They're too educated. Most middle class people are far too educated to vote for the Tories, because you know they can see the bullshit that's going on. Right? You look at a lot of like university professors and you know and senior and your senior doctors and people like that. Most of those people, they vote for the Labour Party because they understand, right, that you know what, the Tories are only there to fuck you up. They're only there to do you harm. They're not there to help you. They only want to hurt you. They're like someone who comes in your house, right, to kill you. That's what the Tories are like, right? They want to fuck you over every single day, every time they can. right? And they do it and they laugh in your face. Let me tell you this, right? If you're walking down the road with a friend, two blokes walking down the road, what do we say for two women? But I'm a bloke, so I'm going to use it. The two blokes walking down the road, and there's a couple of women walking towards you, and your friend, right, says hello to the girls. Hi, lovely knockers. Wait, what the fuck are you just... What the fuck is wrong with you? You're not supposed to say the quiet part out loud. Okay? Hello girls, fine. Lovely knockers, no. The fuck is wrong with you? You're not in a fucking strip club. Right? That's what the Tories are doing now. They're saying the quiet part out loud. Because they don't give a fuck. And they know to themselves, you know what? These people in this country are so fucking thick and so stupid. Right? And, right, they suffer from absolute low educated brain cells, right? And their brain is convoluted, right? And it's full of racist thoughts. And that's why this brown guy who thinks that he could be the Prime Minister, right? Anyway, forget that, right? He can turn around and say the quiet part out loud. I take from the less well off and give to the rich. And welcome back to By Any Means Necessary. Thank you so much for all your messages sent me, and a special thanks to everybody who signed up to my channel. I feel so blessed with so much people that signed up, so thank you so much for that. I'll go through all your messages, I'll answer as many as I can, but I will like all your messages for definite. And I'm just doing this video as a special for my birthday, because today is my birthday, and obviously the 15th of August, always the greatest day of the year and the greatest day ever, to be honest, because it's generally quite a nice day all round, but it is a Monday, so but I'm going on the radio later, so if you want to tune in that cool London, you'll catch me on there between 11 and 1, I think it must be. Yeah, it must be 11 and 1, yeah. So you catch me on there 11 to 1. But let's get back to this bullshit now. Right? Because can you actually believe that Rishi Sunak actually said that out loud? Can you believe this fool? Right? You just think to yourself, what the fuck is wrong with you? How the fuck, right, are you saying that just out loud like that? Right? You'd think that you'd want to hide that shit at least. You don't want to say that out so people actually hear you say it. That's some bullshit. But anyway, so I will say well done to the Lionesses, because the Lionesses, actually brought it home after 55 years of hurt, or maybe 56, but I'm sure it's 55 years of hurt, and it was the ladies, right, that brought the shit home. It's coming home, that's damn right, because the ladies brought it home, and they just, they played absolutely fantastic throughout the whole tournament, and we have to say, we have to take our hat off to them, because they was absolutely brilliant. They was really just absolutely fantastic, and brilliant goals, what they scored, and ladies football has just gone from strength to strength. I mean, it's something that I'm sure should be shown on the TV a lot more. There seems to be a lot more girls into watching football as well, so which can only be a good thing for the actual sport itself. So as I said, massive respect out to the ladies for actually winning the actual whole tournament, and actually bringing us a football trophy home. So well done to the Lionesses. Mar-a-Lago has been raided by the FBI, by the feds, and a lot of these Republicans are losing their motherfucking minds. Right? These people, right, are sick. There's something wrong with them, right? When you're hearing the story is simple, right? That Donald Trump has taken documents from the White House that should never ever leave the White House, because a lot of these documents involve some type of nuclear stuff, and obviously anything involving that, I'm quite sure, shouldn't be leaving the White House at all. right? So obviously, Donald Trump's he's been caught out because the FBI have been watching this for some time as well. It's not like it's they've just started this. They've been watching this for some time, and they've subpoenaed him to get these documents back, and he's given them some back, but I believe that he's tried to hide another load, right? But obviously someone from his inner circle has grasped up and said, listen, there's some documents here, right, that shouldn't really be here. It shouldn't be in like a hotel complex or whatever the hell Mar-a-Lago is, but it shouldn't be in this complex, right? Just under a padlock, basically, right? Now, they've said they've sent some chief FBI officers down there, right? Before the warrant. And then, obviously Donald Trump has come out and said, he never knew it, but I believe that he was told, and all these things, it's all coming out that he was told, and he was watching it all on CCTV himself, and he's saying, and they're trying to bring out stories, that there might have been stuff planted, and but a lot of these documents, yeah, they've passed the stage of being top secret. There's a lot of them are 2 stages above top secret. Right, which obviously means it's only meant for the eyes of maybe 3 or 4 people in the country. Right, there's not going to be a lot of people who have access to these particular documents. So for you to have them in your home under a padlock, right, is not really good enough. Right, and then you have to ask, what the hell have you got those documents for in the first place, right? And now you've got so much of the American senators and the Congress persons coming out and saying they want to defund the FBI. You what? These people want to defund the FBI. I say, well, how does that work? What? Because they raided his house, because he's got illegal documents in his house. He's got documents that he's not supposed to have, right? Remember, yeah, he's the former president, but he's a citizen now, right? So he's not, there's no way that he's supposed to have these documents. That's as simple as it is. It's like the police coming to your house and finding some paedophilia material around there. Now you've got to explain what the fuck you're doing with it. Okay, that's as simple as it is, right? There's no reason for you to have that, right? So therefore, right, you need to explain why you've got it, right? And the only reason why you can say, well, I've got this, because I'm a police officer who investigates these motherfucking type of crimes. Now, what the fuck you doing in my house? That's the only reason, right? Because this other police force didn't realise you was a police officer who was investigating paedophilia crimes. Right? But there's no reason for anybody else to really have that type of material. So when you're talking about documents that's got nuclear weapons, information about nuclear weapons, right? He is not supposed to have them. That's the long and the short of it. And now, right, you've got armed people, men and women, going outside the FBI offices. You know something? I just look at that and say to yourself, you're lucky that I'm not a motherfucking FBI agent. Because I would go out there and I'd arrest every last one of them. I don't care if it's an open carry fucking state. Because one thing for certain, right, there's got to be laws about intimidating people with weapons. There's, however you look at it, right, because I can tell you, right, that if Black Lives Matter went and started taking out weapons and going around police stations or going around FBI offices, I guarantee you, right, that they would find laws to say, well, no, we're taking these weapons off of you because you're using them in a menacing fashion, right? You're standing outside here intimidating with these weapons, and you're not allowed to do that. And I can guarantee you, absolutely 100%, in fact, 1000%, I guarantee you, they'd find the laws, right, to say, no, you don't. Right? So you've got a load of right-wing fucking arses standing outside the FBI offices, right, with guns, right? And this is the reason, yeah, that you don't allow your citizens to carry guns, because when your citizens carry guns, yeah, your politics ends up getting done by the end of a fucking gun. Right, everything in America is far too partisan. I mean, it's bad enough over here, but we don't really allow, our police officers to say, well, I'm Labour, they probably can get away with saying that they're Labour or they're Greens, right, or they're the Liberals, right, but once they start moving over to saying like, well, they're Conservative or they're UKIP or they're BNP or they're fucking National Front, right, which is what you got over here, then that's where the problems start coming. Once you start going to the Conservatives and saying, well, I'm Conservative, a policeman, I'm Conservative or whatever, that's where the problems start coming in, because people know you're damn fucking racist, right? Because that's what, most of the time, that's what Conservatives means in this country. That's what it means now in this country, right? But America, all the judges and all parts, and they shouldn't really live. You can't live under that system where you know what, if you're a Republican, right, we're going to let you get away with certain crimes. You can't live like that, because one thing's for certain, right? In the world of the left wing, right, if you get caught doing a crime, you go and do your fucking time for it. That's how shit works, right? And we don't vote for criminals. People who are criminals, we don't vote for, right? I don't think that you'd have like left wing senators and Republican senators and Congress people, right, calling for war, because a lot of these guys are basically calling for civil war, because Donald Trump's home got raided, so they're calling for civil war. And you think to yourself, grow the fuck up. What the fuck is wrong with you, right? These people, right, I don't see, I just don't get it. I don't get how they're prepared to tear the whole fabric of their country down, right, for the sake of one fucking clown. I don't get it at all, right? And a man who will say to you that he's been successful in every business he's been in, and I say, well, where's Trump Airlines? If you've been successful in every business you've been in, where's Trump Airlines? What happened to the Taj Mahal? Or Trump beef? Or Trump whiskey? What happened to all these things? You've been successful, right? In bits of real estate, and you've been successful with your golf clubs, yeah, up until the point, right, where all of the major competitions pulled them out, right? But these are the people. This is the person who these people are praising so highly, right? A person who's an out and out fucking criminal, because he's stolen, right, America's documents, and they say, what the fuck was you going to do with them? And then we have to we're staying in America because we go to the stabbing of Salman Rushdie, right? Which obviously that I'm a person who loves free speech. I believe in free speech, right? Even for the people who was in Charlottesville, right? I believe in their free speech. Obviously because I like Nazis to put themselves on offer, so we know where they are. Right? Remember we had Charlottesville, and then we had we had London 2020, right, where we had a Black Lives Matter protest, right, and then we had the far right. So it was basically a unite the right, right, in London, right, where they come down on the pretext that they was coming down to protect the Winston Churchill monument, right, even though it was boarded up by the authorities a couple of days before. But anyway, that's not the point. They come down and they were protesting against us, right? Now, for me, right, I don't like what they're saying. I don't want to hear what they're saying, right? I wish I could ban them from what they're saying, but we can't ban them from what they're saying, right? And they have the right to voice their opinion. They've got the right to do that. In the same way, in Charlottesville, they had the right to voice their opinion, right? If they think that the Jews are out there to replace them, or they think that blacks are out there to replace them, or brown people are out there to replace them, then you have to say, well, you motherfucking tetchy fucking idiots, right? No one's trying to fucking replace you, you fucking savage cocks. Right? Who the fuck would want to fucking replace you? Right? No one's trying to replace you. Everyone's trying to just fucking live and let fucking live. But these are the only people are these people from the fucking right. Right? And well, we've got to say, right, that we've got to say that these have got to be white supremacists, right? Because there's no way that you can have like the right wing black and Asian people, right, saying, oh, the Jews and the blacks and the browns are trying to replace us. I don't know. It's as stupid as, yeah, you know, people from the red wall voting for people who are prepared to take from the motherfucking working class and give to the fucking upper classes. Same thing, right? So, as I said, yeah, I believe in freedom of speech, right? So obviously, you know, Salman Rushdie, yeah, has been he's been in hiding. Well, he was in hiding for about 9 years, and obviously he's living in New York now. So you know, I think he's living in New York, right? Well, he lives in America somewhere anyway. But he got stabbed in New York, innit? Right? But now when I say now I look at his case, right? And now you see from what I've heard, because I too. Right, I am like, right, 99% of the Muslims, right, who have never read satanic verses. Because that's the truth behind it. None of these motherfuckers have fucking read the fucking shit anyway. Right? I've never read it because I'm not fucking interested in it. I'm not interested in these motherfuckers' fucking religion. I'm not interested in these people's religions. Right? And you know, I just say to them, you know what, yeah, because these motherfuckers want to kill motherfuckers for their fucking religions, right? And I say, you know what, you people, there's something wrong with you people. At least, because I'm an atheist, right? So at least being a fucking atheist, you know, we kill for real reasons, you know, for money and for a girl. Those reasons. I'm just joking, right? But still, on a serious note, right? Atheists kill for a real reason. Right? These guys are killing you for some fucking myth. For a big fucking wizard in the motherfucking sky. That's what they're killing you for. Right? But anyway. Now. I said, right, 99% of Muslims haven't read satanic verses. And from what I've heard, right, there's only a really small part in there, and you have to really read the whole book, right, to actually find it. Right, but one of the Ayatollahs, yeah, it must be Ayatollah Khomeini or whatever his name is, right? He, right, didn't like a part in there that's must be about an Ayatollah or something, and he must have taken offence to that and said, well, this motherfucker's speaking about me, so I'm going to send a fatwa on his ass, right? And so he must have, so that's the reason why I think it's upset him, right? And obviously for that reason, then he's banned the book, right? And he said, obviously, just told, well, you know, this book is heavily against Muslims and there's a derogative to all of us, right? In the way that, you know, in the same way that Donald Trump would say, the raid on Donald Trump's house is like it's like them coming to raid all of you. You say, no, it's not. It's them raiding you, motherfucker. I haven't got nuclear fucking documents in my fucking house. Right, so they wouldn't come to raid me for nuclear fucking documents, right? Nothing to do with us, you. But that's how the people like to project, right? But Salman Rushdie, yeah. I've done it again, innit? Completely lost my train of thought, right? But Salman, as I said, let's see. So anyway, look. The guy who ran so I was at about the Muslims reading the book in it. So obviously we know that most Muslims haven't read it anyway, right? And as I said, there's not supposed to be too much much derogatory stuff about Muslims in it anyway. So I don't know where all of that has come from, right? But in saying all of that, right, now, know, right, that there are people who will come and murder you, right, for saying something. Like, for example, yeah, if you was living next door to somebody, right, and if you knew that you said something derogative, right, about that person's family member, right, there's a good chance that that person's more than likely going to come and try and murder you because they're probably mentally ill, right? As I say, right, of every motherfucking Muslim who would murder you for their fucking religion, you're fucking mentally fucking ill. It's as simple as that. Right, right. How the hell, right? You're gonna go and murder someone because they've said something, right, derogative about Muhammad? I don't get it. You can try and explain it to me, but I don't get it. Right? How you want to kill someone because they said something derogative about Muhammad? Did you meet him? Do you know him? A lot of these people say, well, they, Muhammad is in front of their mum and their dad. And for me, I say that's fucking stupidity. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. Yeah. How how you say, how stupid can you be? Right? I mean, you've got to be as fucking stupid as Workington man voting for the fucking Tories when the Tories will turn around and take from the fucking less well off and give it to the people who have loads of money. That's what I said to the Muslims. How it's ridiculous. Salman Rushdie, as upset as you are about what he said, right? Sorry, but he's still got the right to say it. In the same way, right, that that the far right have the right to come to London and oppose Black Lives Matter protesting. They've got the right to do that. We've got the right to beat them the fuck up, like we done. We got that right to do that, right? Because there's two opposing sides and we're there, right? We're there. We're two opposing sides, right? But you don't have the right, yeah, to start trying to murder people because of what they've said. You don't have that right to do that at all. Yeah, that's not a right you get. Yeah, in the same way in Charlottesville, they had the right to go out there and say the Jews will not replace us or you blacks will not replace us. They've got the right to do that. Right? And the people, right, have the right to tell them, you know what, get the fuck out of this area and we're going to beat you to get the fuck out of this area. They've got the right to do that. Right? They haven't got the right to start fucking machine gunning them. They haven't got that right. They haven't got the right to start driving a fucking car into them. Because if you notice, right, that all that bullshit comes from the right wing. The right wing, a right wing person went and got their car and drove it into the fucking crowd. These guys are fighting. They're doing combat. Right? They're doing hand-to-hand combat. Right? And one of these right wing motherfuckers decide, oh no, that's not enough. He can go and get his car and drive it into fucking people. Because these people are extra violent. Just like, all of these fucking right-wing fools going outside the fucking FBI offices trying to intimidate law enforcement officers. Right? So, there are things that people do not have the right to do. That's another thing you don't have the right to do. You don't have the right you don't have the right to intimidate law enforcement officers. I'm a black man saying this because look what they fucking do to us. We don't have the right to start breaking out guns. If we was in America, we don't have the right to start breaking out guns and start going to the fucking police station and saying, you know what, yeah, and stand outside their fucking menacing. We don't have the right to do that. Why the fuck do these motherfuckers have the right to do it? Liz Truss was setting out some policy. Was trying to set out some policy, yeah, with regards to You know something? She's going to be brilliant. I can already see that Liz Truss is going to give me so much material to speak about because she's going to be good. She's going to be. She's going to be. She's going to be so bad that she's really good to speak about, obviously, because she already said that she wants to give people in different regions different rate, like low. She just said it blatantly. I said these Tories, they should just keep. What they should do is just keep their mouths closed because a lot of these idiots would vote for them anyway. They don't have to say it. A lot of this stuff they don't have to say it out loud, right? But she's like, the whether it must be all the people, anybody who works for like in the government in some type of way. As we know, there's not really that much people, so we're probably talking about like NHS or local government and stuff like that. But saying, she wants to pay them according to where they live. Now, to be honest, they probably already do that type of thing, right? But for you to say out, right, and as if to say, well, yes, in London you're going to get the most wages in London, but if you're living in like one of the regions, then your wages have got to be lower. And whatever happened, to this high wage economy that you was talking about, high skilled and high waged, right? Which, if you remember, people like me was always saying from the beginning, right? No. These fools are just lying to you, right? They're telling you one thing, they're playing sleight of hand. They're saying one thing to you, but they're doing something completely different. Right? They're saying to you, we're going to level up, right? Yeah, that's why the Red Wall voted for them and said, "Oh yeah, because you're going to level up. They level us up." Well, when Rishi Sunak said the other day, "I take money from the less well off and give it to the rich," so was it the areas that are like the Royal Borough of Tunbridge Wells that needed levelling up? Was it them that needed levelling up, or was it your I keep going for Workington because I just can't remember anywhere else, right? But you know what I'm talking about. All of these red wall seats that went over to the Tories, right? Who said, "They're levelling up. We're going to level you up." And then Liz Truss can say, well, actually, if you're working in one of these areas, we're going to pay you less because you're worth less. You're not worth as much. I'm going to say someone in London, but that's so pious. But we're going to use that. You are worth less than them. You're an idiot. That's what I mean. That's not her saying that. That's me saying that. You're an idiot. Because it's the truth. Right? Liz Truss has also said, right, that that she wants to cut taxes, right, to help people with the cost of living crisis. So how the fuck is that going to help anybody with a fucking cost of living crisis? Right? Cutting taxes is going to help rich people. Cutting taxes ain't going to help fucking Workington fucking man. Can't help him. And when I say Workington man, I'm wearing all surrounding counties. All of you who vote, all of you people from the Red Wall who voted for the Tories. In fact, any working class or any poor person in this country who votes for the fucking Tories, you're fucking idiots. Liz Truss has said there's going to be no handouts, and she has got a fucking cheek. Because when you think about it, right, say, well, handouts, seriously, you are speaking about handouts when all of you politicians live on handouts. That's what you live on. They get their wages and then they get it all topped up with expenses. Expenses is handouts. That's what it is. Let's tell the truth here. That's what it is. It's handouts. Pay your rent. Well, they probably use it for mortgages. But get their money. They get their money for their rent. It's a handout. Oh, you could also get some money, right, for your travel cost. Fucking handout. Oh, you can cancel you. We'll pay your utilities. We will pay their utilities. It's a fucking handout. But Liz Truss, no handouts. I'll tell you this, right? If you got a job from Scotland and you're living in London, you're living in Scotland, because obviously you won't want to live in London and then go work in Scotland. No disrespect to the Scottish people, but you know, I don't. I'm not sure how much people actually do make that journey from London to Scotland to work. But I'm quite sure there are people who make the journey from Scotland to London to work, right? But I guarantee you, right, that job, right, doesn't come with expenses. It's just a highly paid job, right? Or if they do pay your expenses, it's because you've got a brain the size of Gordon Brown, who's one I missed out from earlier, right? Gordon Brown, right? Another one who this country went against, right? A man, right? Who passed his exams, right? In Oxford at 16 motherfucking years old, and this country turned its back on him. And look where the shit is now. But Liz Truss, right? No handouts. Handouts? Well, the fucking lords. £326 a fucking day for doing fuck all. But no handouts. Right? Because you know why? Because socialism's fucking bad. It's shitty. It's crap for you. It's crap. Rubbish. But for them, all these motherfuckers live off socialism. Whether it's the Queen, right, or it's fucking Lord motherfucking Sugar. They're all living on socialism. Go and collect the fucking £326 for fucking doing fuck all. Right? And these people are struggling to give, right, the lowest earners in the country a £20 uplift. A £20 uplift. £20. Right? They give the Lords £326 a day. Right? You know, MPs get their expenses paid, right? Utilities, travel, right? You know, do you know what I mean? Rent, everything paid. But for the people, there'll be no handouts. And in fact, what we're going to do is cut your taxes. You know, the people, people who earn less than fucking 12 grand don't pay tax anyway. So it's not going to help them in any way. How's it going to help them? Fuck all for them. As I tell you, yeah, Liz Truss is going to be, she's going to be very good. She's going to be very, very good. Right? Jacob Rees-Mogg has admitted that he was wrong about Dover. I'm just trying to remember back now, because I'm sure Jacob Rees-Mogg said that it was all Project Fair about Dover being blocked up, and he came out the other day and said that he was wrong about that. But then he did go on to start to try and blame the French for the fact that Dover was blocked up, and said, well, it's not the French's fault. The French didn't vote for Brexit, you know, so it's not their fault, right? And if the French decide, you know, because Britain putting itself in that position and giving the French all of that power over it, because Britain had so much power over the French because it was in the EU, because at that point, right, then it could dictate to the French, right? You know, it could say to the French, well, what's going on at that border? Why is that people getting stuck? No. In the EU, pal. But now, as we're not in the EU, the French can determine how long and how far our queues are going to go back in Dover. Because they've got something like, they've got 12 or 15, right, receptions where you go through, right? But the French can man as much as them as they want. So the more our politicians, right, have a go at the French and call the French names, the French can just say, okay, you know what, we're just gonna put 2 people on those booths, and then we see where you go from there, because we've given them that power to be able to do that over us. Because what we're gonna say, put more people on there, put more people. They say, well, fuck off. I mean, we can't tell them anything. We've given them that power over us. Right? That's what we've done. We have given them that power over us. Right? So they can determine everything now. Because we've said to them, no. What we want is we want our documents to be checked. That's what we want. Our documents must be checked every time we go into Europe. Our documents must be. They said, okay, fair enough. If you want that. Right? Because, obviously we didn't have to do it before, but now we do. Right? And these are the type of things that Jacob Rees-Mogg was saying that, oh no, this will never happen. But anybody who knew anything about the EU was saying, oh no, it will. That's exactly what's going to happen. But at least Jacob Rees-Mogg has admitted now, but he's still blaming the French. Kwasi Kwarteng, a member of the clown show, or Kwasi Kwarteng, crazy idiot fool stupidity, right? Kwasi Kwarteng, right, is blaming the Bank of England, right, for the rate of inflation. Now you see, the thing is, there's only one problem with that, yeah, is that the Bank of England, yeah, needs educated politicians to be running the country. It needs politicians, right, who have got common sense to be running the country. The Bank of England can only do so much. This is the thing. If you send a pig to a makeup artist, the makeup artist can only do so much. Okay? That's as simple as it is. Right? The Bank of England can only be as good as the politicians. And if your politicians, right, have sold off all of your industries in your country, industries, utilities, right, they've sold off the trains, they've sold off the gas, the water, the electric. Let's take the water for example. Right? Let's just take the water for example. The water companies obviously were sold off. Thatcher come in and sold off all this shit, right? But since 1990, right, the water companies have paid out. They've paid out around £60 billion in shares, dividends, shares, wages and bonuses, because obviously the management have to get some high wages and some good bonuses, because for something that falls out of the sky, obviously we need people in there that have got that are brains that are so big, right, that they need to be able to run one of the water companies, because obviously we need to find people who can find good ways of putting raw sewage into our water system. So you have to have people with big brains to be able to do that type of shit. But anyway, right, so £60 billion they've paid that in shares and dividends and bonuses to all these brain boxes, right? And do you know, right, that right now, today, right, our infrastructure needs around £57 billion spent on the infrastructure. And I don't know. That should get you speechless. That should be 1313 legislation territory. I'll tell you about it one day. Right? That should be really someone should be putting those two together and say, well, if we didn't privatise this, right, and give these these directors and these shareholders, right, enough money so they can buy themselves Bentleys, yachts, really big fuck off houses, go to have villas in Barbados and shit like that. Obviously that's just the normal stuff, right? Then perhaps I don't know. But if the government was still in charge of it, perhaps that £60 billion would have been spent on the fucking pipes. right, and not right on people who are going to dry out reservoirs and put houses on them. Because that's what they've been doing as well. They've been drying out all the reservoirs that they're supposed to be, Because what do we need reservoirs for? Why would we need them, right? But they've been drying them out and putting houses on them. After they've managed to get their hands on these on these on this we're talking about the water utility company, on the water utility. Right? So after they've managed to get their hands on it, what they've done is they've taken all the money, right, which is our money, funnily enough, right, and have spent it all on lovely fancy stuff for themselves. You say, how does this country run in this way? How do they get away with this shit? Why do we allow these type of people to do this type of thing and get away with this in this country? How does that work? What kind? We've only got politicians that are working against us. Because look at the figures, what these guys are banting about. 60 billion, right, taken and shared, right, out of water companies. 60 billion paid out to shareholders and to management. Really? Out of water, something that falls from the sky. We're surrounded by in Britain. We're actually surrounded by the shit. Right? If they had any politicians who had any common sense or knew how to run anything, because remember we are in a country where we have politicians who can't even run a train line. Okay, our politicians can't run a train line. That's what we're dealing with. We're not dealing with no super brain boxes here. We're dealing with people who cannot run a train line. And I can guarantee you, I can absolutely guarantee you, if you give me a month, right, on the job, I can run a train line quite easily. Right, but we're dealing with people who can't. Nothing special about none of these guys. None of this, nothing special about, because if you look at the top one of them, which is Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, right? We've just had to get rid of him because he's a complete incompetent arse. Right? He's the top one of all of them. So if he can be that incompetent, how can any of the people under him be competent in any way? Well, no, can't be. Absolutely. So yeah, as I was saying, so the Bank of England, right, can only be as good as the politicians that are running the country. So all the politicians right now are trying to blame, well, all the Tory politicians are trying to blame the Bank of England for what's going on in this country, even though, right, this has all happened, right, because these people have lost control of the economy. I've been saying it for a long time, right, and we was always going to get to this point. Boris Johnson's just accelerated by probably 2.5 decades. That's all. That's all it is. But we was going to get to this point, right, where, because you can't sell off all the utilities in your country, right, and people taking all of the money out of your country, right, when you need billions of pounds spent on the Victorian pipework. Look how long they've been saying the Victorian pipework. Look how long. Right. I'm sure that Thatcher would have sold it off on that basis at that time, because I can't remember, I would have been too young, right? But I'm sure Thatcher would have sold it off on that basis, right? Because she would have been saying, oh, if we sell it off to the private sector, they will change all the pipe work and we will no longer have Victorian pipework. Lead delivering water. Did you know, right, that beds per capita, right, we're not even in the top 50 in the world. Beds, because we've got something like, I think it's something like 2.5 per thousand or something like that. But I can't remember who it was. One of the Asian countries had something like 13.3 beds per thousand people in their country. And we have something like 2.5. Even like the Caribbean islands are above us, right? In what is one of the first world countries. I don't want to hear it from none of you Germans. Don't want to hear it. Right? In what's one of the first world countries. Beds per capita, we are not even in the top 50. But in saying that, we have sold off all the car parks. Oh, we have the government who are setting out contingency plans for blackouts, and the government's also setting out, the ice cream van. It must be really warm outside then, right? But the government, are not going to. The government are setting out plans for blackouts, right? And also, right, the government are thinking about having warm banks, right, because people are not able to pay their fuel bills, because obviously you know that we're having a cost of living crisis, and we're having a cost of living crisis really because there's a lot of profiteering going on, right? A lot of these utility companies are saying, oh, it's more your Shell and your BP, and I'm sure that BP, British Petroleum, would have one time been owned by the British government, BP, right? So obviously that's another one that's been sold off where, I'm quite sure we all know now, right, we're all getting it now, that these industries should have never been sold off. But you people, even when you had a chance to vote for somebody who said, you know what, I'm taking back all these industries, you was like, oh no, we don't want that. Oh, no, we don't want that. Because in a couple of years' time, what we need is our utility cost to go up by around 250% in 1 year. Because they're talking about it might go up to $5,000, and Labour are talking about, oh, it needs to be capped, and say, oh, capped, really? You can do that? So what? So you're telling me that all this time the Tories could have just said no, we're capping this shit, and they could have capped it. They could have said no, we're capping it, right, at the cost it was in 2019. We're capping it there. Because if the Labour Party's coming out and saying that we could have capped it, and they're talking about figures of like £29 billion, they say 29 billion, really? These are the type of figures, right, that are going through, and you say, where do you think that money's coming from? You and I. Right? And these guys have sold off all these industries. And look at these figures that they're talking about: 29 billion, 60 billion, 57 billion. Look at all these figures they're talking about. These figures, right? You've got Shell and BP laughing their heads off at the moment, talking about, oh, you know what? In the first quarter, we've made 9 billion. 3 months, 9 billion. Whoa! These guys have gone from profits in the hundreds of millions, right, to the billions, right, in the cost of living crisis. So, well, how does that work? How have you managed to do that? Right? How is it that you're saying to us, oh, well, you know what, all your bills have got to go up, and but we're making even more profits? I say, well, hasn't none of the politicians put these two things together and said, well, hold on a minute, no, you can't do that. No, we're not going to allow you to do that. But here's where we are. Oh, we've got postal workers and nurses are setting out plans to go on strike. So then more strikes coming. That's just what we need: more and more strikes. And I suppose we should always speak about some Brexit. The number of EU citizens coming to the UK has plundered. It's gone right down, right? And as you can tell, right, this country is really suffering because of it. Because we've got a lot of fruit and vegetables going rotting in the fields. The NHS has lost so much numbers. We've got ambulances stacked up outside the hospitals, stacked. Right, so a whole heap of ambulances just stacked up, right? And that's why we're up to because remember a lot of the nurses and the doctors was Spanish and French and all that. A lot of these people have just said, you know what, we don't want to work on that racist island no more. We don't want to work there. Right? And so that's what they've done. A lot of the people have made this into a completely hostile environment for a lot of good people who used to come over here to work. and it's like, you know, so all of these industries are really being smashed to pieces at the moment. You know, especially like you know, with hospitality. You know, a lot of places can't even open their doors. You know, they have to have like lunch times off, or they might have to like, you know, close 1 or 2 nights a week because they haven't got enough staff to cover. And it's a real shame, because we've gone from a country that was like, you know, what people used to, you know, what people used to love to come to, or, you know, or people used to want to come to make themselves British. And, you know, and the it just seems that the right wing, right, rather than being proud of that, oh no, we don't want that. You're fucking idiots. Jacob Rees-Mogg says it was a triumph for Remainers to get rid of Boris Johnson. So what the fuck was it to do with Remainers? What the, you see what these people, see how these people play this shit, right? Oh, everything for them, right, has got to be about some type of war. When it comes to the right wing, it's got to be some type of war that they go for, right? Whether it's a cultural war, or whether it's a war against us, to say, you know what, it's all these Remainers that have got rid of Boris Johnson. Say, really? So all the parties, and trying to keep, keeping people that was sexual predators on the payroll and all these type of things, that's, what the hell's that got to do with Brexit? Right, people, Owen Patterson, or whatever the fuck he was called, right? All of these type of things, all the parties, right? What the fuck has that got to do with Brexit? It's got nothing to do with the Remainers, right? The Remainers had nothing to do with it, right? These people, right? I said to these people, they've got their Brexit. That's what I keep saying to them. You've got your Brexit, now make it work. But you know what? Yeah, because they know that it can't work. They know that they're fucked up in the biggest way possible, right? I mean, all you have to do is just take just the example of Dover. Just look at Dover. Just take that one example, right? And then you can see for yourself, right, that this whole shit has been bollocksed, right? When you give the French that much power over you, I mean, the level of stupidity that takes, right? Just the level of stupidity. But I mean, look, right? Some of the UK top winemakers have moved to France because of too much red tape. Red tape. So they've moved to fucking France. Let's say, what good has that done for us? What good has that done for this country? That we've got the French can determine how far our queues are going to go back in Dover, right? And then, or we've got our winemakers, right, moving to France because of red tape. What good? But you see, because these guys, they've got nothing that they can say good about Brexit. So Jacob Rees-Mogg has to come out with, oh, well, it's a triumph for the Remainers to get rid of Boris Johnson. What's the triumph? Where's the triumph in that for the Remainers? You've got your fucking Brexit, right? Do something with it. But you know what? They can't. Because they know that Brexit is a massive fucking shit show. So all they can do is just like, just start chucking out mud. And Brits living in the EU have had their bank accounts closed from banks such as the Halifax, Barclays and Lloyds have closed their bank accounts. I don't even know why. It's just a headline I'm reading, but that's what's happened out there. I have to look more into that story. And Michael O'Leary is one of the only people out there, telling people the truth about Brexit, telling people how much Brexit has fucked this country up. Because remember, he's the man who brought us like the £10 flights and all shit like that, which he said no longer. There's not going to be none of them type of things because you people, you're a bunch of racist asses and you're fucked up all things like that. Anyway, guys, I've been on for like an hour and 5 minutes straight, right? So I've got to bow out of here. But it was really nice to speak to you guys again. As I said, today is my birthday, so you can sing the old happy birthday to you, or go Ribs, it's your birthday. But anyway, I have to bow out of here. So I will see you again in September, because I said I was going to pop up. I might pop up and do a couple of videos here and there. But you know what? There's been so much news. There's been a lot of news, and I'll keep meaning to do it. But I thought, you know what? I'll just leave it to my birthday, and I'll just do a long one on my birthday. So, my friends, this, my friends, is By Any Means Necessary. I'm the MC John Ribbs. It was really nice to speak to you guys. Comments below.